700 BC, Jerusalem. Temple courtyard hums. City never sleeps. The air is thick, heavy with the sharp, resinous sting of burning incense and the dry, grit-filled scent of sun-baked earth. Merchants shout their prices for grain, their voices clashing against the rhythmic, hollow tap of priests walking the stone floors. Servants haul baskets of oil, the wood scraping harshly against the dust as they pass. In the center of this relentless motion, Isaiah sits. He does not look up. He does not acknowledge the shouting or the movement. His hand remains perfectly steady, a singular point of stillness amidst the chaos. He holds a reed pen, the tip hovering just above the parchment. He presses the ink down, a dark, deliberate line appearing on the surface. The city pulses with life, unaware of the silence spreading from his corner. He watches the ink darken the scroll, his eyes fixed on a vision. The pen moves again, a slow, calculated stroke that anchors the prophecy to the page. The weight of the future begins to settle into the ink. The reed pen drags across the fibers, leaving a trail of black. Isaiah writes of a man who will not wear a crown of gold, but a crown of thorns that bites into the brow. He describes a servant despised and rejected, a man of sorrows familiar with the raw ache of grief. Each character is a weight, a heavy mark of what is to come. Outside his shadow, the marketplace continues its frantic, rhythmic bustle. A mother yanks her child away from the path of a heavy wooden cart. A shepherd drives his flock through the narrow, winding gate, his staff clacking against the stone. Elders lean against the city walls, debating the harvest, their voices rising and falling like the tide. None of them notice the ink darkening on the scroll. None of them see the prophecy unfolding in this quiet, dust-choked corner. Isaiah describes stripes that heal and a sacrifice that redeems. He does not pause to wipe the sweat from his forehead. The vision demands everything. He writes of a burden that is not his own, his hand moving with a grim, relentless precision. The ink pools, dries, and sets, locking the future into the parchment. The focus drifts from the parchment to the faces of those moving through the temple grounds. Near the outer gate, a man sits against the stone, his head bowed so low his chin touches his chest. His hands are locked together, knuckles white, trembling with a tension that never breaks. Further along the path, a widow walks with a slow, uneven gait. Her eyes are fixed on the horizon. She clutches a small, empty basket against her side, her fingers digging into the wicker. Near the shadow of a merchant tent, a traveler rests. He has dropped his pack, the leather worn and caked with red earth. Each of them carries a weight that leaves no mark on the stone, yet pulls at their shoulders. They are the living echoes of the scroll, waiting for a promise they do not yet know has been written. The golden light of the afternoon begins to pulse. It spills across the temple floor, growing brighter, hotter, until the sharp lines of the stone walls start to waver and bleed into the air. The sounds of the marketplace, the shouting merchants, the clatter of carts, the rhythmic pace of the priests dissolve into a low, humming vibration. The ground beneath the feet of the weary shifts. The solid stone of the courtyard softens, crumbling into the dry, red-dusted earth of a road in Galilee. The air changes, losing the scent of incense and taking on the sharp, clean smell of sun-baked hills and wild grass. A figure emerges from the haze. He does not arrive with the clamor of guards or the fanfare of a king. He walks with a calm, deliberate pace, his feet pressing firmly into the dust. He moves toward the broken, toward those who have spent their lives carrying invisible weights. The tension in the air snaps into focus. The road stretches out before him, and the people, caught in the sudden shift of time, stop their movement. They turn, their eyes widening, as the figure continues his steady, unhurried walk. The Savior stops. He does not call out, yet the crowd parts as if moved by a sudden, gentle tide. He reaches a man whose hands have been locked in a permanent, trembling knot. He places a palm against the man's forearm. The tension vanishes. The man's fingers uncurl, his shoulders drop, and he exhales a breath he seems to have held for years. The Savior moves on, stepping toward the widow. He touches her hand, and the white-knuckled grip on her basket loosens. She lets the wicker fall to the dust, her eyes clearing as she looks at him, the fog of her grief replaced by a sudden, sharp clarity. A traveler, hunched under the weight of his pack, feels a hand rest upon his shoulder. He stands upright, his spine cracking, the crushing pressure of his journey evaporating in an instant. The air around them ripples. People who were once frozen in shame now lean forward, their hands reaching out, not to grab, but to be near. Prophecy felt warm, burdens lifted. The Savior walks past the village gate, where the air remains thick with the threat of conflict. A group of soldiers stands in his path, hands resting on the hilts of their swords, their eyes scanning for a sign of rebellion. He does not stop. He does not raise a hand to defend himself, nor does he look for a way around them. He walks directly into the center of their formation, his pace never faltering. The soldiers tighten their grip, but as he passes, the tension in their arms dissipates. They do not draw their blades. They watch him walk by, their weapons remaining sheathed, their gazes dropping to the dust. He offers no challenge, only a steady, calm presence. This is the fulfillment of the ancient ink. The man of sorrows, familiar with grief, stands in the center of the road, absorbing the hostility of the world. He reaches the edge of the village, where the suffering of the people, the widow, the traveler, the broken, finds its mirror in his own deliberate, sacrificial movement. Each step, a prophecy fulfilled, a life sacrificed. In the quiet corner of the temple, Isaiah leans over the parchment. His reed pen moves with deliberate, measured pressure, carving the final characters into the dry surface. The ink pools, dark and wet, catching the dim temple light. He pauses, his hand hovering just above the scroll, the tip of the quill trembling slightly. He does not look at the bustling marketplace. He stares at the words he has just written, the ink still glistening. Then, the air in the courtyard shifts. The scent of incense thins, replaced by the dry, sun-baked dust of a distant road. Isaiah lifts his head. His eyes catch a flicker of golden light. It is the same radiance that bathes the Savior in the village miles and centuries away. Isaiah's breath hitches. He reaches out, his fingers brushing the edge of the scroll, and for one heartbeat, he sees the figure walking. The suffering he described, the stripes, the rejection, it all finds its purpose. The two moments lock together, a perfect, silent alignment. The parchment hums with a soft, ethereal radiance, the ink lines vibrating as if the words themselves are breathing. Outside, the sun dips below the horizon, stretching long, warm beams across the hills. The wind sweeps through the valley, carrying the scent of dry earth and the promise of a new dawn. Every sound in the village fades into a profound, glowing silence. The light from the scroll spills out, merging with the golden hue of the twilight, bridging the gap between the ancient prophecy and the living hope.